Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive into a place that feels like it's straight out of a fairy tale?
Oh, I know exactly where you're going with this.
Today we're heading to the Swiss Alps, to a car-free village that promises breathtaking views, fresh mountain air, and adventures for every season.
Stoos, Switzerland. It's more than just a pretty picture, though.
Oh, absolutely. That's why we're taking a deep dive. So first things first, for those who haven't been lucky enough to experience it yet, where is Stoos and what makes it so unique?
Well, picture this. You're nestled high in the Swiss Alps, about 1,300 meters above sea level.
Yeah.
It's this charming village, but here's the catch. No cars.
Wait, no cars at all. How do you even get there?
That's part of the adventure. You have two options, both pretty spectacular. There's a funicular railway, one of the steepest in the world.
Wow, steep?
Yeah, it's a thrill ride for sure. Or you can take a scenic cable car ride soaring up the mountainside.
Either way, sounds like you get some amazing views on the way up. Okay, so no cars in the village itself. That's got to create a totally different atmosphere.
It really does. It's peaceful, it's quiet, you can hear the birds singing, the cowbells in the distance. It's like stepping back in time.
Okay, I'm sold. But how do you actually get to Stoos, like from the real world airports and such?
Right, so the closest airports are Zurich, which is about 60 kilometers away, and then Lucerne, that's a bit closer, maybe 45 kilometers.
Okay, not too bad.
And from either airport, you can hop on Switzerland's incredible train network. It'll take you right to the base of Stoos. And the train journey itself is really scenic.
Oh yeah, those Swiss train rides are famous for a reason.
Yeah.
All right, so fly in, train ride, funicular or cable car up to the village. Got it. Now let's talk about what Stoos is famous for, especially in the winter.
Skiing.
You got it.
Stoos is a winter wonderland, seriously. Imagine 35 kilometers of slopes covered in fresh powder.
35 kilometers, that's a lot of skiing.
It is, and there's something for everyone. Gentle slopes for beginners, challenging runs for the experts, and everything in between. Plus, Stoos is connected to the Frontalpstock and Klingenstock ski areas.
So you're not limited to just those 35 kilometers.
Exactly. It's like one giant ski playground. And they have a really modern lift system, cable cars, chair lifts, so no waiting in long lines.
Nice. No one wants to waste time standing around when there's all that snow to enjoy.
Yeah.
But Stoos has a reputation for more than just those groomed slopes, right? What about for the more adventurous skiers and snowboarders?
This is where Stoos gets really exciting. It's known for amazing free riding and off-piste skiing.
So untouched powder, finding your own lines, that kind of thing.
Exactly. If you're looking for that ultimate thrill, Stoos is the place to be.
Sounds incredible. All right, we've covered winter. But Stoos isn't just a one-season wonder, is it? What about when the snow melts? What awaits visitors then?
Well, think lush green meadows, wildflowers blooming, crystal clear lakes. Stoos becomes a hiker's paradise in the summer.
I can picture it. How extensive are the hiking trails there?
Over 100 kilometers of trails winding through forests up to mountain peaks along those stunning alpine ridges.
100 kilometers, wow. So there must be trails for all levels, right? Not just for the super fit hikers.
You're absolutely right. You could take a leisurely stroll, enjoy those breathtaking views, or you can challenge yourself with a more demanding climb.
Okay, so skiing in the winter, hiking in the summer. But surely there's more to Stoos than just those two activities, right? What else can visitors experience?
Oh, there's so much more. How about paragliding?
Paragliding, wow. Soaring above those peaks, taking in the views from a whole new perspective.
Yeah, it's an incredible experience. And for the real thrill seekers, the surrounding areas offer amazing canyoning and rafting.
Okay, so navigating rushing rivers, waterfalls, that kind of thing?
Exactly. It's an adrenaline rush in the heart of the Alps. And if you're looking for something a bit more relaxed, there's even a golf course in Stoos.
Wow, they really do have it all, don't they?
Oh.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. After a day of skiing, hiking, or any of those adventures, people need a place to rest and recharge. What kind of accommodation options are there in Stoos?
Well, you've got everything from luxurious hotels to cozy guest houses, self-catering apartments, even hostels for the budget-conscious traveler.
Something for everyone, then.
Exactly. Like, if you want to splurge, you can stay at Hotel Stoos or Hotel Frontalpstock. They have incredible amenities, spa services, amazing views.
Sounds luxurious.
Yeah, but if you're after something a bit more down to earth, there are those charming family-run guest houses and B&Bs scattered throughout the village.
That sounds more my speed, to be honest.
Yeah, they offer a really authentic experience, and you get that local touch.
And for those on a tighter budget, you mentioned hostels.
Yeah, there are a few hostels, and they're a great way to meet other travelers. So no matter your budget, you can experience the magic of Stoos.
Right, accommodations covered. But now let's talk about the most important part of any trip, in my opinion anyway.
Let me guess, food.
You know me too well. What kind of culinary delights await visitors in Stoos?
Get ready for some serious Swiss deliciousness. We're talking cheese fondue, raclette, rusty.
The classics. Okay, I'm familiar with fondue, but break down raclette and rusty for me. What exactly are they?
All right, so raclette, picture this. You have this big wheel of cheese, and they melt it, and then they scrape it onto your plate.
Oh, wow, like right at the table.
Often, yeah. It's served with potatoes, little pickled onions, gherkins. It's a whole experience.
Sounds amazing. And what about rusty?
Rusty is like a crispy potato pancake, you know? It's made with grated potatoes, pan-fried till golden and crispy. You can have it plain with cheese, onions, even a fried egg on top. So good.
I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. So where can people find these Swiss specialties in Stoos?
Pretty much every restaurant in Stoos will have these dishes on the menu. But for a really special experience, I'd recommend Restaurant Stoos or Burgesthof Ronalpstock.
Okay, and why those two in particular?
They offer fine dining with incredible panoramic views. It's a whole ambiance.
Sounds fancy.
It is, but you can also find those traditional dishes at the cozy mountain huts scattered throughout the area. They have this rustic charm, you know, you've been hiking all day, you come across a little hut, you get a hearty meal, it's perfect.
That's the kind of experience I love. All right, so we've got fine dining with a view, we've got cozy mountain huts. Sounds like Stoos caters to every taste.
For sure. And don't forget the après-ski scene. There are bars and clubs in Stoos, like Hotel Post or Alfitli.
So you can enjoy those mountain views during the day and then dance the night away under the stars.
Exactly. And there's more to Stoos after dark than just bars. They have all sorts of events and festivals throughout the year.
Oh, tell me more about that. What kind of events can we expect?
Well, to kick off the ski season, there's the Stoos ski opening in December.
I bet that's a big party.
It is. And then in January, they have the Stoos Snow Night, which is really cool. You can go night skiing under the stars. There's live music, a really festive atmosphere.
Night skiing under the stars, that sounds magical. Anything for the music lovers out there.
Absolutely. They have the Stoos Music Festival in June, which brings together all sorts of music against that backdrop of the mountains.
Wow, that's got to be special.
And if you love hiking, the Stoos hiking days in July are a must. Guided hikes, nature walks, outdoor activities, it's all happening.
Okay, so you've got your skiing, hiking, food, nightlife, festivals. Stoos is sounding more and more like the perfect getaway destination.
It really is. And it's not just about what you can do there. There's a whole history, a culture, a story behind this incredible place.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about that side of Stoos. What's the story behind this mountain village?
Well, Stoos has a long history rooted in farming and those ancient mountaineering traditions. You know, for centuries, people have lived in these mountains, relying on the land, herding their animals, really living in harmony with nature.
Wow, it's amazing to think about that connection to the land that goes back for generations.
It is, and you can still feel that connection in Stoos today. It's part of what makes it so special. But it wasn't always a tourist destination, you know?
All right, so how did it evolve into the place we know today?
Well, tourism in Stoos started to develop back in the late 19th century, with those first guest houses and hotels being built. People were drawn to the natural beauty, the peacefulness of it all. But the real game changer came in the 1930s when they built the funicular railway.
Ah, so that opened it up to a wider audience.
Exactly. It made Stoos more accessible, and that paved the way for its transformation into the renowned resort we know today.
So it's managed to evolve with the times while holding on to its traditions and that unique character.
Exactly. And speaking of tradition, there's a really interesting landmark in Stoos, the Church of St. Peter and Paul.
Okay, tell me more about that.
It's a historic church, dates back to the 12th century. It's been the spiritual heart of Stoos for generations. Simple architecture, peaceful setting. It's a beautiful place to just reflect.
It sounds like a place with a lot of stories to tell. Now, I always love a good fun fact, something that might surprise people about Stoos. What's something that most people wouldn't know?
Well, we've talked about Stoos being car-free, but did you know it's actually hosted international ski competitions?
Wow, really? That's pretty impressive for a car-free village.
It is, and when you see those slopes, those views, it all makes sense.
All right, so for someone planning their first trip to Stoos, what are the absolute must-dos, the things they shouldn't miss?
Okay, well, first, the journey itself is part of the experience. So whether you take the funicular or the cable car, savor that ride up to the village. And you can't miss the Ronalpstock summit.
Ah, Stock. I've heard that name. What's so special about it?
From the summit, you have this incredible panorama of 10 lakes, countless alpine peaks. You can even see Germany's highest peak, the Zugspitze, in the distance.
10 lakes. Wow. That's a view I'd love to see. How do you get up there?
You can hike up, or there's a cable car that takes you to the top.
So options for all fitness levels.
Exactly. And once you're at the summit, there's a restaurant where you can have a meal, soak up the views, maybe even take a paragliding leap if you're feeling adventurous.
Okay, I'm adding that to my list. Yeah. What about for those who prefer to keep their feet firmly on the ground? Any must-do hikes?
Absolutely. The Lowy Valley is a must-visit. It's this secluded valley with waterfalls, meadows, those towering peaks all around. It's truly breathtaking.
The Lowy Valley, got it.
Yeah.
What else should we see?
Oh, and don't miss the little mountain chapel of St. Jost. It's perched on a hill overlooking the village, so the views are incredible, and it has this amazing sense of history. Dates back to the 16th century.
Okay, those are some great starting points. Now, for those who are ready to start planning their Stoos adventure, any practical tips they should keep in mind?
Sure, the main language spoken in Stoos is German, but most people in the tourist industry speak English. And the currency, of course, is the Swiss franc.
Good to know. What about the weather? What should people pack?
Well, Stoos has that classic alpine climate, so you need to be prepared for anything. Layers are key, especially in the mountains, because the weather can change quickly. Summers are generally mild, but winters can get pretty cold and snowy.
All right, so layers, check. Any other essential tips for first-timers?
Definitely book accommodations in advance, especially if you're going during peak season. And I always recommend packing a good pair of hiking boots. Even if you're not planning on hardcore hiking, you'll want to be comfortable exploring the village and those surrounding trails.
Great advice. Now let's talk about getting around in Stoos itself. We know it's car-free, so how do people move about within the village?
Well, the village is pretty compact, so walking is the best way to explore. It's so pleasant to stroll through those car-free streets, take in the architecture, browse the shops, and just soak up the atmosphere.
I love that. It forces you to slow down and really appreciate your surroundings.
Exactly. But if you're not up for walking long distances, or if you have young children with you, Stoos also has a free electric bus service. It connects all the main areas and attractions.
Oh, that's fantastic. So eco-friendly and convenient. Sounds like Stoos has really thought of everything to make the visitor experience as enjoyable as possible.
They really have. And that focus on sustainability, on making sure visitors feel welcome and comfortable, is a big part of what makes Stoos so special.
Now, for those who have a bit more time and they want to explore beyond Stoos itself, what would you recommend? What's in the surrounding area?
Oh, there are so many options. You could take a scenic boat trip on Lake Lucerne, visit the city of Lucerne, which is steeped in history, or even venture further into the Swiss Alps.
So many possibilities.
Yeah. And the Swiss train network makes it so easy to get around.
It sounds like you could easily spend a week or even longer exploring Stoos and its surrounding areas.
Absolutely. And you'd never run out of things to see and do.
Before we move on, I'd love to hear your personal thoughts on Stoos. What is it about this place that really speaks to you? What makes it stand out from other mountain destinations?
You know, for me, it's the tranquility, that sense of peace you just don't find in many places anymore. It's like stepping into another world, a world where time moves a little slower.
I can imagine. Surrounded by those mountains, no cars, fresh air. It's got to be a real escape from the everyday hustle.
It is. You wake up to the sound of birds, maybe some cowbells in the distance, and you just feel the stress melt away.
Yeah, that sounds pretty amazing. And I bet that atmosphere attracts a certain type of traveler, someone looking for something a bit different, a bit more authentic.
Absolutely. People who come to Stoos are looking for an experience, not just a vacation. They want to connect with nature, with the local culture, with themselves.
It's like a reset button for the mind, body, and soul. And you mentioned the local culture. What is it about the culture of Stoos that makes it so special?
Well, the people are incredibly friendly and welcoming. They have this deep connection to their traditions, to the land, and they're happy to share that with visitors.
I love that. It's that human connection that often makes a trip truly memorable. It's not just about the sights, but about the people you meet, the stories they share.
You're so right. And I've had some really special encounters with locals in Stoos. Like, I remember this one time I was hiking in the hills above the village, and I came across this small, family-run cheese-making operation.
Oh, wow. That sounds incredible.
Yeah, they welcomed me in, showed me their traditional cheese-making process, let me try some of their fresh alpine cheese. It was such a genuine experience, and it really captured that warm Swiss hospitality.
Those are the kinds of moments that you just can't plan for. They just happen. They stay with you forever.
Exactly. And Stoos is full of those kinds of moments, those unexpected encounters, those little surprises that make the trip so special.
Okay, so we've talked about the atmosphere, the scenery, the activities, the food, the people, and even those magical moments you can't plan for. But for those listening who are now thinking, I need to get myself to Stoos, what are some key things they should keep in mind as they start planning their trip?
Well, first off, embrace the car-free thing. Plan to arrive by train and then experience either that funicular railway or the cable car ride up to the village. It's all part of the adventure.
And once you're there, what would you recommend?
Pack some good hiking boots because you're going to want to explore those trails. Don't try to pack too much into your itinerary. Allow yourself time to just wander, get lost in those mountains, discover hidden gems.
It's about slowing down, really taking it all in.
Exactly. And talk to the locals. They're the best source of information when it comes to finding those hidden gems, those authentic experiences that you might not find in the guidebooks.
Local knowledge is gold when you're traveling. Now, are there any online resources that you'd recommend for people planning a Stoos trip? Places they can go to find information on accommodations, activities, all those practical details?
The Stoos tourism website is fantastic. They have all the information you need, from where to stay and what to do to event calendars and transportation details.
Perfect. And I always find it helpful to read travel blogs, forums, get those firsthand accounts from other travelers.
Oh, definitely. You can learn so much from other people's experiences.
And of course, there's always the option of reaching out to the Stoos tourist office directly.
Yes. They're incredibly helpful. They can answer any questions you might have, help you plan your itinerary, even make recommendations based on your interests.
It's reassuring to know that there's that support system in place for travelers. Okay, before we move on, I have one more question for you. What, in your opinion, sets Stoos apart from other mountain destinations? What makes it truly unique?
For me, it's the harmony you find there. The balance between nature, tradition, and sustainability. Stoos has managed to preserve its natural beauty, its cultural heritage, while embracing tourism in a way that benefits both visitors and locals.
That's a really special combination. It's not always easy to find that balance.
It's not. But Stoos is proof that it can be done, that you can have a thriving tourist destination that also respects the environment, the local community, and the spirit of the place.
It's inspiring. And I think that's what draws people to Stoos, that sense of authenticity, that feeling that you're experiencing something real, something special.
Exactly. It's a place where you can reconnect with nature, with yourself, and with what truly matters. And it's a place that leaves a lasting impression.
Well said. Now, before we wrap up our Stoos deep dive, is there anything else you want to highlight, anything we haven't talked about yet?
You know, one thing that really stands out to me is the sense of community in Stoos. It's a small village, and you really feel that everyone knows each other. There's this sense of belonging, of shared traditions that's palpable as soon as you arrive.
I love that.
Yeah.
There's something so comforting about being in a place where community is so strong.
And it's not limited to just the locals. They're so welcoming to visitors. You're not just a tourist. You're treated like a guest, and you're invited to be a part of that community, even if it's just for a short time.
It's like being welcomed into a big extended family, sharing meals, stories, experiences.
Exactly. And that's what makes Stoos so special, those connections, those shared moments.
Yeah, those are the things that travel memories are made of.
They are. And you'll find plenty of those moments in Stoos.
All right, before we move on to our final segment, what are your lasting impressions of Stoos? What are the things that stay with you long after you've left?
It's that feeling of being in sync, you know? Like Stoos is this perfectly balanced ecosystem where nature and human life just coexist beautifully. It's not just a place to visit, it's a place to just be, to breathe, to slow down, to really appreciate those simple joys that we often take for granted.
You're right. It's not just about the sights or the activities. It's about how the place makes you feel. It's that feeling of being rejuvenated, of finding that inner peace. And what I find so amazing is that Stoos offers that experience to everyone, no matter who you are or what you're looking for.
Yeah. You can be an experienced hiker tackling those challenging trails, or you could be a family with young kids just enjoying a leisurely walk through those meadows. There's space for everyone to connect with the mountains in their own way.
It's so welcoming, so inclusive. It's not about being an elite traveler or having to prove anything. It's about experiencing something real, something genuine. And I think that's what makes Stoos so special, that authenticity, that sense of belonging.
And that's so important these days in a world that often feels so disconnected, so superficial. Stoos reminds us of what really matters, those genuine experiences, those moments of connection with nature, with ourselves, with each other.
And it shows us that we don't have to travel far or spend a fortune to find those moments. Sometimes it's just about slowing down, shifting our perspective, and appreciating the simple things. And Stoos provides the perfect backdrop for that.
Right. Imagine waking up to those cowbells, that fresh mountain air, having a cup of coffee with a view that just goes on forever. Those are the moments that feed your soul, that make you realize what's truly important.
It's making me want to book a ticket right now.
Okay.
Okay, so for anyone listening who's feeling inspired and ready to plan their own Stoos adventure, what advice would you give them? What should they keep in mind as they embark on this journey?
Go with an open mind and an open heart. Embrace the unexpected, be present in each moment, and let the experience change you.
Don't just go through the motions. Really be there in the moment.
Exactly. And don't forget that sense of adventure. Stoos has so much to offer, so many opportunities to push your limits, explore, create memories, whether it's conquering a challenging hike, paragliding over those peaks, or just enjoying a delicious meal with a breathtaking view. Embrace that adventurous spirit.
And don't forget to unplug, to disconnect from the digital world and really connect with the natural world around you. Put that phone away, breathe in that fresh air, and just be present in the beauty of Stoos.
Yeah, that's crucial. It's so easy to get caught up in our phones and social media and miss out on those real, authentic experiences. Stoos is like an antidote to that. It's a chance to reconnect with what truly matters.
Well said. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Stoos, I want to thank you for sharing your insights and experiences. You've painted such a vivid picture of this alpine paradise, and I think we're all feeling a little bit of wanderlust right now.
It's been my pleasure. I'm always happy to spread the word about Stoos.
And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has inspired you to consider Stoos for your next adventure. It's a destination that offers something truly special, a chance to escape, to reconnect, to discover a different way of life, a place where you can create memories that will last a lifetime. So until next time, keep exploring, keep dreaming, and keep seeking out those places that make you feel alive. Happy travels.